Another day, another pay. Holy crap, look at all that rain. I'll bite you here, I'll bite you there, I'll bite you out of this atmosphere. I'm one of a kind, I'll bite your mind, I'll bite off your behind. With that being said, here's the morning roundup. Honey badger skull, yes, I made that because of the meme. Sharky. Another Gandy pipe. This guy here has been churning out little stuff. We did a couple frog dishes. And this, of course, is the T-Rex dish, but a very, very small one. And speaking of trinket dishes, the pug cone. David Can. At this point, I'm also thinking I'm just gonna make a bunch of extra little sharks because I know I'm gonna sell a bunch of these too. I feel like this is almost becoming just like a shark channel. Shark! And that raptor skull is coming out. Pipe can, also at this point an extra, although I think I just sold another one or something. This D20 is pretty close to done. Came out pretty smooth. And this is the Smilodon skull. Yesterday I made a whole bunch of the T-Rex and various trinket dishes. People like the small ones, people like the medium ones, and I even sell big ones. And I really want to make one that's like that big. A giant frog dish. It'd be like something you could serve candy out of at a party or something like that, maybe. I don't know. Oh yeah, I'm forgetting this printer is down here because we just fixed it. But octopus tentacles. Actually, looks like the tips of them did not print. That's weird. Maybe this is gonna have to get a hot end ectomy as well. And of course on this one, the octo did print correctly, so nice. 1, 2, 3, 4. Tell me, dinosaur, what are you waiting for? Skittle bebop, a re-rock, Scooby-Doo. Guess what, Sora Patio, we love you. You can rock and roll with so much soul. You can roll till you're 101 years old. I can drink hot coffee in the air tonight. I was looking through my custom project folder and I just wanted to point out, yes, I do the thing where you call things very silly names. There were several versions of that particular one. So on the way back, I actually stopped by Goodwill to see if they have any VHSs, and I'm going to show you what I found. Least good to most good. First off, copy of Jurassic Park. You gotta have this. This is the first movie I ever saw in theaters more than once. I saw this 3 times as a kid. DVDs. Ken Burns Jazz. This is, opinions differ on Ken Burns, but he's a very good documentary filmmaker. And this, to me, is probably the best documentary ever made about jazz. Look how many discs that is. That is crazy. I've watched about a third of this, and it's amazing. They go all the way from it's so thorough. I mean, of course it is. It goes all the way from Dixieland to big band to cool jazz and beyond. But that's not even the half of it. Lastly, prepare yourself. A VHS copy. I can't believe it. A VHS copy of freaking Empire Records. This is the Breakfast Club of the 90s. If you've never seen this, this is one of the great cult films of the 90s, and I would never expect to actually find a copy of it. I almost just can't even believe it. Yeah, it's Empire Records inside too. I think this is Liv Tyler's first film, and Renee Zellweger's in there, but these are early performances. Ethan Embry, a bunch of people. I think almost everybody in here was at least kind of famous at some point later in life, but I can't believe it. Freaking Empire Records on VHS. This is unbelievable. If you haven't seen this, you gotta see it. You got to. When I saw Empire Records there on the rack, I literally did a double take. That's like seeing a bottle of Johnny Walker Blue in the bargain bin. Also, I found this. That's very me. It's a little dusty up here, but yeah, that works. Panko crusted pork chops with potates. This guy got painted. Here's the big reveal. There we go. Beautiful. Man, this is just one of those days where there's a million little things that pop up. I got a bunch of people messaging me and stuff for custom stuff, which I don't do in the holidays. If you ever want a custom order or something, not during Christmas or even close to it is when to do it. But we are going to clean up all this stuff. We're gonna package this guy. We're gonna mess with this stuff. And maybe we'll also fix up some printers because that's something we've been trying to do. There are these days where the episode kind of comes out shorter because like a lot of the stuff I'm spending time doing is stuff that you don't film, like talking to a customer or buying supplies or like doing some research on something. It's like, what am I gonna do? Sit there like while I'm typing away? It doesn't make sense. But we are about to really get some stuff done. Made a giant batch of bubble wrap. I think before Christmas, I want to get like 5 or 6 rolls of the film for this because there's just no way, like I do not want to run out of bubble wrap during Christmas. I don't think I've ever specifically said this, but this stuff works out to be about 4 cents per square. You can kind of see where the perforation mark is there. So like, you might need 8 or 9 of these to wrap a head, or the big sharks and stuff. Maybe like 28 squares or something and 214 strips. And that is amazing. That is an amazing price for bubble wrap if you've ever used bubble wrap and actually calculated the costs. Plus this stuff protects way better. You can see how stuffed those bubbles are. This isn't normally how the stock inflator works, but with my custom inflation setup, they're like hyper inflated and hyper protective. Oh yeah, this occurred to me late last night. I think probably once a week, I want to highlight one of your guys' stores. Like people know about my store and stuff. I don't even really have to advertise it. We're doing fine, obviously. I think I want to give a shout out and do a little bit on each of your stores, or as many stores as we can get to. Like I said, maybe do this like once a week and we'll rotate. We're not just gonna do the same ones over and over. I want the audience to get a sense of what your guys' shops are for and what kind of interesting things you make. I think that would be really interesting. Plus it's a way of saying thanks, you know? Like obviously I would be giving you free promotion and I'm happy to do that because you guys have been loyal listeners and watchers, depending on whether you're watching the video. So yeah, if you want to be featured on the show, I'm gonna probably throw up some pictures or something and tell people a little bit about the kind of stuff you make. And we'll make a slideshow or something, I don't know, we'll figure it out. But message me on Facebook and add me as a friend. A lot of you guys know my Facebook link is on the main page of YouTube. So just add me and message me. I'll probably put together a list or something and we'll get pictures from you, like I said, and feature you on the show. Time to do the eyes. Speaking of Sharkos for little ones. So a little special project I'm working on right now is I am trying to optimize the way I organize my paint cans. And so I've been like looking at things on Thingiverse like this. This is a holder for obviously beer, but you could theoretically change it. However, I've been looking at a bunch of these and I think I'm just gonna design my own. Almost all of the can holders or can dispensers I'm seeing like this, they like need things to be glued together, and it's like in the course of like working quickly, just looks like something that's gonna get broken or tipped over. Plus they don't print all in one piece and I don't wanna have to do a bunch of print runs. So I'm thinking I'm just gonna design my own. Before we get into it, I'm just gonna show you the space we're talking about. Yep, we're going in the paint booth. Tons of nanners, but it's for this space right here. See, it's getting a little chaotic over here. I was using these baskets and that worked okay, but the thing is, if you look, there's a whole bunch of space here that's not being used. So I'm thinking I can make a multi-tier thing that spits out paint cans, maximizes the space, and plus we can organize it by color more easily. Yeah, like it's getting so ridiculous. I was just thinking about it, and like it really wouldn't be that hard just to whip up something that, you know, it's like one of those levels in Donkey Kong where you got the things like that. I mean, it would be the same direction or whatever. Actually, I'm not exactly sure how I'm gonna design it yet. But, I mean, with my big printers, I've got more than enough printing capacity. I could bust out at least a few of those before Christmas hits in a couple weeks or whatever. When I'm doing stuff like this, I like to jot down a couple things. First, we are going to figure out how high the space in the rack there is, and this is how deep it is. So you would be like looking at the racks from this direction. And then we're gonna get measurements for the can, and then we're gonna design the object to kind of maximally fit in here. Got our measuring tape. Man, I love being able to do stuff like this. This is why 3D printing is great. So let's just extend this a bit. There we go. So that would be, what, 140 millimeters. We'll measure across here too. I say we could fit 3 of them on there. Just realized I was looking at the inch mark instead of the millimeter, but that's 350 millimeters deep. We won't even need to make it that big, but it'll give us an idea of where the maximum is. So 350 millimeters deep maximum, and we could see that 3 paint cans could easily fit on that shelf. So we'll just make the racks slightly larger than a paint can, and they should easily fit. So it's 350 deep, and this was about 400 millimeters high, but we'll just give it a little breathing room and call it 380. This can is about 200 millimeters, so we'll make the rack slightly wider than that. 200 millimeters, and we'll call that, it's really about 65, but we'll call it 70 just so that we got enough room for sure. Unless you need nice tight fits, I like using conservative estimates on stuff like this. So you don't go through all the effort of making and designing and printing this thing and it not work. So this is SketchUp. I like using SketchUp for quick and dirty stuff. This is 350, that's 380. So this will be the footprint on the printer bed that the whole thing will fit within. And we're gonna probably extend it, whatever it was, 200 millimeters in this direction once we get the cutout of the layers and stuff. So this is about 70 millimeters in this direction. We know the bottom layer needs to come out like that. You know, actually the bottom layer, let's incline it a bit or something so that they roll down. Each one of these will roll down like this. Yeah. But anyway, we're marking this because we know that they're gonna fall at the edge of each layer and they need to be at least that wide. All right, so this will be the bottom, and we did a slight incline so the cans will roll down there. And we're just gonna do kind of the same thing each level up above. Got the rough outline sketched out here, and I figured out I can actually cut off this part at the top. Structurally, probably just won't be necessary. Now we're gonna cut out the bits and stuff and just leave the frame that we need left over. Let's rotate this thing like this. Extrude this thing out. Both pieces. Yep. How we're gonna connect these two pieces is we're gonna put a sheet covering over that and a sheet covering on the other side. But then we're gonna poke holes in this to use the minimum amount of material. Measured out a square that's the same dimensions as the sort of outer limits here. Extrude that, then we are going to connect it. Next, what we're gonna do is cut out a lot of this unnecessary material here. We're going to do that using the offset tool. So we'll do something like that. Maybe a little more, yeah. Once we've created an outline like this, we'll do that. And that should give us, yep, there we go. And then we're just gonna do it for the other side. Rotated it so we can see the other side here. And we're gonna do that. We rotate it so it's on the other side here, and we're going to match the other side by doing it that way. Then we're going to push this in like so. I think this would work as it is, but I think I'm gonna put little supporting posts here so that the weight of the cans doesn't mess this up. There we go. I decided to do it like this. I was thinking about the orientation of how I'm actually gonna print this thing. All right, we're gonna finish trimming out all the parts and stuff that we don't wanna keep to minimize the plastic, and then we will have a finished product. From SketchUp, we're in Mesh Mixer here, and never mind the red lines. We're gonna make solid, and then we're gonna do a mirror thing so that we don't have to do both sides. Here we go, a solid object. The perspective thing is kind of warping it, but this is symmetrical and everything. Now we're going to do a mirroring. These are slight overhangs. Even that might not be like that big a deal, but we're just gonna smooth them like that. Smoothed all these edges so they won't be overhangs. Now we're gonna do the mirroring thing. And there we go. We will hit accept, and ta-da. I believe I can say this is done. This will be printed on its side like this, and on that orientation there won't be any overhangs. Oh yeah, we gotta like put some holes in this too to get rid of the excess. I think what we're gonna do is make a cube, which even though this doesn't look like a cube, it is. And we're going to round the edges and stuff so that it won't be straight overhangs, but we can adjust the cube to be to cut out most of the area here. All right, we kind of pushed in the corners of the top of the cube. So what we're gonna do is use this plane cut tool to kind of just isolate that part, and then we're gonna stretch that out. So yeah, punch that off. And the error message, great. All right, let's stretch this guy out. You have to do this a few times. We're just gonna subtract these objects from the main object. There we go. This thing is ready to print. That's the actual object, and this represents about how big a can would be. You can see it fits in there. Pretty snug, but yeah, this ought to work. Here we're plating it. Looks like it's going to fit adequately, and no major overhangs. Really no overhangs at all. So this should print as one piece. Got a few more of these little guys to do. This is a Gandhi pipe. Einstein. Moai 1. So yet again, did not quite get around to putting together the new printer. I'm gonna open it up and make it really inconvenient so I remember tomorrow. There we go, it's pretty hard to ignore. All right. Oh, what a mighty, mighty day. Oh man, just seems like I can't get that friggin' printer put together. Or the new Dragon thing listed as a product. Oh, well, a lot of work, but I always say it, but we're getting more and more prepared for Christmas, and it looks like things are gonna be good. I have a room in the next the side part of the business you guys generally haven't seen, and I'm pretty much just filling it with sharks and like spare things. And by the time Christmas hits, it's gonna be like pretty chock full of stuff. Got a bunch of stuff painted today, so that will be packaged tomorrow. Things are moving in the right direction. I didn't get to absolutely everything on the racks and stuff, but I got to most of it. And considering how many things I had to fix and filament to make and stuff, it ain't bad. Real Snail 3D asks, do you preach anywhere? I assume this is because on the last video, which is what he commented on, I probably mentioned that I was an ordained minister. I have preached a few times, but I was probably more on track to be a music minister. Happy MFG7348 says that they watch my video every morning, usually with coffee. That's the right way. GCG Rich says, grateful for the knowledge and grateful this channel arrived at a time when a knowledge of German and a casual knowledge of property acquisition in Argentina isn't suspect. You may think that I just read that off of something. I didn't. I just had to memorize it and then switch to the camera app. Very funny. I do agree that that could be construed as somewhat suspicious. Thy Mystic states that they watch the videos every day and they've got a hua-hua on the way, which is great. Said they make, that these videos make their day a little better every day, which is nice to read. Yep, I like picking out a couple of choice comments a little randomly every day just to say thank you to all of you who watch and tune in. People don't understand that you used to tune your TV. It was like a radio. I am just old enough that when we were growing up, we had a TV that not only you tuned, but the TV's video didn't work. It sounds like I'm trying to exaggerate how poor we were, but we literally had a TV that the video didn't work, and I grew up listening to MacGyver. Well, and the A-Team, and whatever was on like the 2 or 3 channels that it got. I guess I'm grateful that I grew up with not that much stuff. It has made me less materialistic, I think. We all kind of struggle with materialism, and a certain amount of it is fine and understandable, but like, I do feel like I can kind of be happy with less, which is not a bad thing. I'm grateful for that, and I am grateful that I found somehow a copy of Empire Records on VHS. That is not a common thing. So that's my 2 cents. Now it is time for the Gratitude Gang Up. Tell me what you are grateful for. Tell me about the small moments of levity, of joy that enrich your life, the small things. It can be anything. It could be the croaking of a toad, the singing of a bird, the scrampling of a squirrel, the warmth of coffee, the coldness of cottage cheese. Tell me what motivates you, what brings you into motion for the day, what projects you got working on. We'd love to hear it. We like to upvote grateful comments. You'll probably get a heart from me, probably get an upvote, and you might even feel the obligation or the opportunity to upvote other people's comments, giving them that tasty notification. Somebody liked your comment. It is the ultimate abode of confidence. But that's enough from me. Let's hear from you. Type all that stuff into the comments so I can read it. That's what we like to do. And also, if you, like I said earlier, if you have a 3D printing business, message and friend me on Facebook and tell me about it, and I will feature it on the show. It won't be anything super long, but we'll give you a nice thorough shout out and just explain to people what kind of stuff you do, what products you've got going on, that sort of thing. I really want to give back to the community, and it also would be a nice way to just, for us all to kind of get to know each other a little bit. But yeah, so do that if you have a business. And if not, know that we're going to tell you about some very cool makers that are in the community. So, as leader of the Gratitude Gang, I'm going to sign off for tonight, but do a good deed. Peace out.
What's with you today? What's with today?
Shock me with that deviant behavior.
Now they're my special recipe, and you know what that means. Ooh, lots of sugar. Now, Mark, you gotta understand something here. This music is the glue of the world, Mark. It holds it all together. Without this,
life would be meaningless.